What surprised no one when it failed? The movie, Cats. With every trailer, everyone commented how much a train wreck it looked like it was going to be. Sure, some people thought it would be in the so bad it's good fun stage. But, nope. It's just bad. When it failed at the box office, no one was surprised. My brother-in-law's fifth marriage. Sixth time's a charm. The triumph of hope over experience. I work with someone who is watching his fourth marriage going down the toilet. He blames the women. SMH. When the guy in Florida, I think that's where it was, tried to walk across the ocean in his homemade floating hamster ball and was marooned at sea. I'm intrigued by the engineering making it possible to breathe properly inside a ball that has to be watertight. Edit, spelling. And also, I'm obviously talking about a new invention where the purpose is long sea voyages, and it is a hamster ball. It does have to be watertight, because I'm not keen on spending days on end wet. He could breathe in it because it has two large holes in it. One on each side. It is designed to only rotate forwards or backwards and not side to side, so the holes would never be covered up. It's an extremely poor design that is barely able to move forward at all since the current of the water easily overpowers it. It was quite obvious just from the video the guy made himself that the entire concept was going to fail. Bellucci intended to walk inside the wheel to keep it moving, catch fish for food and take in donations for some unspecified charitable cause. My brain stopped at catch fish for food. News outlet just be trollin' now. Read this sentence and immediately realize this guy has zero experience on the ocean. I mean, pretend he somehow ended up with a live fish in the hamster ball. What's the next step? Didn't Soulja Boy try to create his own video game system? One that ran pirated Nintendo games, yes. Taco Bell in Mexico. No explanation needed. Actually, I have questions. Several in fact, and they all start with why the duck? Maybe they marketed it like wanna try what those guys up north are calling Mexican food? Come on in. Anyone remember Amazon's Fire Phone? Got one for free when Amazon gave one to everyone that showed up to the phone dev session at their reInvent conference. Sold it on eBay as soon as I got home. Made like $200, so I loved it. I got a free Mozilla phone in a similar circumstance, should have sold it, but instead it's sat in its box in my attic ever since. I thought I might use it as a second device if I ever killed mine, or try to flash it with Android but never even tried. Having a kid to save the relationship. Edit, wow, ridiculous response. Thank you good strangers for the awards. Reading through the comments is a bit of a journey of emotions for so many out there. Me and my ex-wife got married to save the relationship. I bet you can guess how well that worked. Well, you did spoil the ending in the first 4 words. Right? Didn't even let me guess. Kinda rude tbh. Hebe. Anytime a friend, coworker, or family member invites you to their MLM party. Yes, Molly, I'm sure this will be like a full-time income where you set your own hours. People will be clamoring to buy overpriced kitchen gadgets from you that they can get on Amazon. I feel like the Tupperware parties of the 70s and 80s were the only time an MLM was worth it. It was such a fantastic product that every family on the block bought loads of it. Because that was a genuinely good product with a then novel marketing idea, where the focus was actually on the product and not on your downline. Most MLMs today are nothing but predatory cults. Shout out to Rantamum, these businesses need to die. Predatory is right. When my son died, I had 2 acquaintances and 1 person I considered a friend contact me within days of his death trying to sell me shit. One acquaintance and the friend were trying to sell me essential oils because they insisted aromatherapy would help with my grief, and the other tried to sell me some weight loss wrap things because you'd feel so much better if you lost the baby weight. I am so sorry that happened to you. I'm not even mad about it anymore. I was pissed at the time, but I was very vulnerable and raw and it didn't take much to set me off. I've thought about it periodically over the years, and I realize now that they were likely already financially unstable, and then suckered into taking on a lot of debt and probably were extremely desperate. That time the state of Oregon tried to blow up a beached whale with dynamite. Happened back in 1970. And fortunately we had video cameras back then. Don't try this at home, kids. The end of this video sums it up best. They'll certainly remember what not to do. U2.B edit. For the umpteenth person who pointed out that they didn't fail to blow up the whale, the failure was their effort to remove the whale from the beach. Sorry, I didn't realize it was so important to clarify this. Edit 2. If you have never been to the Oregon coast, it is one of the most beautiful places in America, even the small town where the whale explosion happened. For those who are wondering what happened to him, he wrote it off as a success, and guess what happened next? He got promoted. Finn, so much with that word just seems so funny as well right afterwards. Movie pass. But oh, was it a good summer at the theater. Oh my god, was it ever. I saw some terrible shit that year just because I had nothing else to do, and why not burn 2 hours at a theater? Sometimes I would go and see a movie because it was too hot outside. The war on drugs. Spoiler alert, drugs won. I fought the drugs and the drugs won. I had some money, now I have none. I fought the drugs and the drugs won. Prohibition. Kind of incredible that this was something that happened in the last 100 years. Edit, I am specifically talking about alcohol prohibition in America. I know it exists in other forms. And there are still dry counties. Fun fact, the Jack Daniel's distillery is built in one of them. Another fun fact, Old Forester is the oldest continuously operating distillery in the United States, as it was legally allowed to continue producing whiskey during Prohibition for medicinal purposes. Korbel was also allowed to produce champagne during that time, and was even served at White House parties during Prohibition. Both are owned by the parent company of Jack Daniel's, which, as you said, is produced in a dry county. Basically, alcohol laws in America make zero ducking sense. Hooters Airlines. Just imagine if that was launched today. There was a Kingfisher airline, and for a good while it was kind of the premier airline in India. For context, the Kingfisher here is a beer company. It's like if the States had a Budweiser airline. Flew on them. It was good. Till I flew on a beer company airline. It was a perfectly good flight, never would have guessed. Years ago, when I was a white belt sparring a black belt and getting cocky. I was a yellow belt when I did this. Ended with 3 broken ribs because I took a spinning back kick hard. Sounds like the black belt you were sparring was either a dick or should not have had black belt. No excuse to injure a new student like that. Every time I sparred with a black belt I was beaten down, but the only damage was to my pride. And that's how it should be, lol smile. CannaCon, was anyone really surprised? For folks like me who never heard of it, basically Firefest for C-list YouTubers. Building the wall and making Mexico pay for it. The condom I kept in my wallet for 2 years. Replace it before it deceives you in a more expensive way. The Segway. It was supposed to revolutionize the way we travel, according to its investors. Then for like a year every kid had a hoverboard. They disappeared like fidget spinners. Maybe because they kept exploding? I don't know. Also, most people can just walk. True. The Segway. It's like a mart cart, but you have to stand up. Google Plus will go down in history as one of the worst, most pointless decisions any tech giant has ever made. Up there with Microsoft and RIM dismissing the iPhone as a toy when it came out. Edit, I should probably edit this to say one of the worst executed decisions. I understand there was potential, I understand it did things well that appealed to certain niche communities, but it was largely trying to do something Facebook had already dominated for a decade. And did it in a way that limited sign-ups and very publicly ducked with user privacy, all without differentiating themselves enough from Facebook to be able to tell anyone why they should switch. It was a boondoggle. I'm surprised Google Plus lasted as long as it did. When they announced they were shuttering it, my first thought was, didn't they shut it down years ago? It was forced on the YouTube comment sections.